Hi folks, Brad here at Goner Games. Today we're going to talk about currency converting, doing Playmaker and Playmaker Array, or truncating, or number auto formatting, whatever you want to call it. Really realistically what we're going to do here is we're just going to convert this number here, thousands, millions, billions, trillions. If you had an auto increment game or a game where you're going to get into a high value of numbers and you want to be able to make it into a more human readable format, this is a way to do it up and down. If we took away multiple zeros, it'll automatically count up and down as we require. So what we need to have installed is Playmaker, add-ons, the ecosystem browser, and from the ecosystem browser we get ArrayMaker. Fairly easy to do. We're just going to delete these three items and we'll start from scratch here. So first thing I'm going to make is I'm going to make a UI, a text object here, make this a little bit bigger. And our font size is going to be 28. We'll center it, color, make it white, nice and easy to see. So that's going to be our label where we're going to have our text installed and be able to update as we need. We're going to make a new game object here. We're going to do our converter item. Sure, why not? And last but not least, we're going to create an empty game object here, and we're going to call this our array holder. In our array holder, we're going to add in our array, Playmaker list array. We're going to use suffix as our reference, because this is going to be our millions, trillions, billions, whatever we put at the end. We're going to make it a string. I'm going to pre-fill count. We're going to leave 0 blank, and from here we're going to go thousands, millions, billions, trillions, A, B, C, I, J, and K. So that'll be all of our suffixes. You can change these as you require whenever you want to convert to whatever works for your game needs. Now in here we're just going to add our little FSM. So on our converter item we have our FSM. Here's our little start state. Variables, we're going to do all of our float variable first. So first thing we want is our raw value. And that'll be our actual value you'd use to add and subtract. We're going to make this available in the inspector right here under controls inspector. Makes it easy for us to edit later. Next one we're going to make is our display value. So this is the value that you'll actually see displayed out onto the screen. From here we need to do our math for counting up and down. So we're going to have our high check value. We're going to have a low check value. We're also going to have a divide by number. And from there we're also going to have a array index number. So your array index number is going to be an int. It's going to be your array index number. We're also going to have our float to string. So this is going to convert our float to string to string. Oh, float to string. Let's try float to string. Float to string. Then we're going to have our suffix. So that's where our thousands, millions, billions comes in. And then we're going to have one more called combined. And that'll combine our float to string with our suffix and show it in our display for our text. So now in our first state, this one's actually going to be really easy. We're just going to have really a couple of actions here. We're going to do a float compare. And what this is going to do is this is going to compare our high check value to our raw value. And if the high check value is greater than, we're going to send a new event called move up, and we're going to add that to it. We're going to do it every frame, and if it's equal to, we're also going to move up. So if we go back into our variables here, in our array index number that can be 0, our divide by number is going to be 1 to start with, our high check value is going to be 1,000 to start with, our low check value is going to be 1 to start with, our raw value can be 0. We'll go back to our state. So now what we're going to do is we're going to check to see if this gets above 1,000. If it gets above 1,000, then we want to move up or we want to move up on the equal as well. Next, we're just going to grab our text holder here, and we're going to grab it, throw it into here. Text, we're going to set the property of the string, text, string, and last but not least, we're going to do a float to string. We're going to move the property to the bottom here. So we are going to convert our raw value to our float to string value. Format C gives us the currency. We're going to do that every frame, and we're going to set our property text to our float to string value, and we're going to do that every frame. So you can see here, if we hit play, that'll come up as 0, and then, but you can see here now we got just a whole bunch of zeros. Nothing's converting down, and they start to lose meaning after they get to a certain point. So now we'll make the converting portion. To convert, we're just going to make a new state here, and in this state we're going to call this converter. Here's going to be a few more steps, but really not that too many here. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to use a float operator, and we're going to take our convert back here, and we're going to take our raw value, and we're going to go our divide by number, and we're going to divide, and in here we're going to store the result into displayed value. We're going to do that every frame. So we're going to take the raw value, we're going to do a divide by number, we're going to divide and put it into our display. Next up, we're going to convert our float to string again, and this is going to be our display value, and we're going to go to the float to string, format C, and we're going to do that every frame again. Next up, we're going to do our array list get suffix. So we're going to type in here array list get, not array get, list get. We're going to use a specified a game object, and that's our array holder here. I'm going to drag that in. Reference is going to be my, suffix, because we want to call it the same as what we referenced in our, when we set up our array maker. Our array index number is going to be at index, so we set that up. The type is going to be a string, because that's what we set up in our array holder, and our result is going to be suffix. So that'll get the array, get the value from our array, dump it into the suffix result. Now we're going to build a string. So now we're going to build a string. It's only going to have two parts. First part being our float to string, second part being our suffix. There we go. Separator is just going to be a space between the two, add it to the end, and we're going to store our result in the combined, and once again we're going to do that every frame. Now we're going to grab this text, drop it into the bottom. Same thing we did before, we're going to set the property, text, string, every frame, and the value is going to be our combined value. Now we need to do a few float compares to know we need to move up, move down, and if we need to go back to the start. So our first one's going to be, not that one, first one's going to be our float compare. And this one's going to be for our high value. And this one's going to be our high check value versus our raw number. Tolerance, if it is equal to, we want to move up. If it is less than, we want to leave that blank. And if we want to be greater than, we want to move up as well. So that's our float compare high. We're going to drag our float compare, and we're going to do our low. So now this is going to be our low check value versus our raw number. Tolerance, if it's equal, nope. If it's less than, we want a new event. We're going to make it move down. We'll click that, add it back on, and we want to check that as well. And last but not least, we're going to add one more, and that's going to take us back to the start. And so this is going to be start. And once again, if our low check value, if our raw number is going to be less than or equal to, say, 950, we are going to go back to start. And if it's less than, we are going to go back to start. And we're going to check that every frame. So now we can move up, we can move down, we can move back to start. So start's easy, we'll pick that one. We'll do our move up box here. Move up. So in our move up box, we've just got a few here to do, which is you're going to do our action browser, and we're going to do our float multiply. So in here, we're going to take our float multiply, and we're going to do our divide by number. We're going to multiply that by 1,000. We're not going to do it every frame. And so this is our float multiply for divide by number. We're going to add another float multiply, and it's going to be our high check value. We're going to multiply that by 1,000. Then we're also going to do our low check value by 1,000, because we're going up in 1,000 increments when we do our divisions. And last but not least, we're going to do an int add for our array index. So we do our int add. We're going to add 1 to our array index number. And that's it. Then after that, we're just going to put a finished on here. Add transition, finished, and we go back. Next, we're going to do our move down value, and it's pretty much the same thing, only in reverse. Move down, and in this it's going to be our float divide. And in our float divide, we're going to do our divide by number. It's going to get divided by 1,000. Our high check value is getting divided by 1,000. Our low check number is getting divided by 1,000. And we're going to do an int add again. And in our int add, we're going to do our array index, but we're going to go -1. And same thing. We're just going to add our transition, finished, come back to here, and that's it. If we started here, we should now, as we go up and down, we start, it's at 0, 1. I put this in backwards. I did. Sorry guys, the raw value versus the high check value. That's where we went wrong. Got these upside down, I apologize. Raw value, high check, hitch check. Raw value, low check value, and raw value. There we go. Let's try it again. Then now, as we move up, thousands, millions, billions, trillions, and we come back down, thousands. So there you have it, just a quick, easy number converter that you guys can use. The nice thing about having the array outside of this text converter is if I duplicate this, and I move this up here, it'll now grab the array from 2 different areas. So the 2 are, I can copy and paste this, and I can set each value to whatever I want, and it'll grab the right array without having to be together. Thanks again for watching, and hopefully I'll put together a video for double values. Thanks. Bye for now.